everybody, and welcome to a race day preview where we are literally on race day. First time this year NASCAR cars are on the track at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's Thursday. That means the K&N Pro Series East, another name change for that one, and the Whelen Modified Tour on track at Loudon. Gavin, I'm going to give you some teams. We have Michael Waltrip Racing, Red Bull Racing, Joe Gibbs Racing, Richard Childress Racing, and Max Siegel, a former executive at Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, is fielding two of the top 5 teams. Those are teams you usually would associate with Sunday on this week, but they're all on track today as part of the E-Series. Just a reminder that, hey, you're not missing out on the big names when you see these younger, more up-and-coming drivers, because these are the guys you're going to be seeing in the Cup Series in the future.
Yeah, it's exciting to see these guys, and right now you're going to see some guys going around the track that who's that, what number is that, but in a few years they're going to be household names, hopefully, and one of those guys that's going to be going around is Ryan Truex, and I had the fortune of being able to talk to him the other day, and he was very excited to come here, because for these guys, and given the fact that the Nationwide is here and the Sprint Cup is here, people buy tickets and they want to see these races, and specifically the modifieds, but these East guys, they can do some damage. And he spoke specifically about the fact that these are going to be very exciting races because you're going to have a lot of fan support in the crowd, more than they typically get for a race, and the fact that Sprint Cup and Nationwide teams are going to be watching and checking these guys out. So he feels added pressure about this weekend, but it also gets his juices going and gets him excited to be on the track.
Truex coming from a family of guys who know the strength of the E-Series. Martin Truex Jr. is the guy who just within the last 6 or 7 years was running in this series. Now he's a winner on the Cup Tour, just signed a big deal with Michael Waltrip Racing. You look at guys like Ricky Craven, 20-something years ago, came up through the series. Now you look at guys like Joey Logano, who were in this series a couple years ago and is now the reigning Sprint Cup Rookie of the Year. We went through a period there, nothing against the Andy Santares and Mike Olsons and Matt Kovaluks of the racing world, but they were leading this series. They were the stars, but they were older. Nowadays, you'll see the late teens, guys like Truex, who's the points leader and the reigning champion, guys like Max Gresham, Ty Dillon, Darrell Wallace, Brett Moffitt, all guys in their late teens who have the whole career ahead of them, and I think that just makes today's action, tomorrow's race, that much more exciting.
Yeah, and what impresses me is the maturity of these kids. Whether that folds over onto the track, sometimes they can get a little hot-headed. We've seen Joey Logano, I think, stand up for himself more than anything else, but show a little bit of immaturity with the comments after his little skirmish or whatever with Kevin Harvick. But I think the maturity of these guys and how they handle this, and Ryan specifically, Ryan Truex, spoke about the fact that he does feel the pressure and he is excited, but at the same time knows that a lot is on his plate. And I thought that was refreshing to hear him say that. Not that whole corporate kind of robot-like answer where I just try to go out there and do what I have to do. I think the honesty that we see from these kids sometimes is very refreshing, and the maturity. And I think that's what makes this so exciting for me, is to see these guys kind of getting into the NASCAR and moving forward, and just it's really exciting for me.
There's got to be pressure. I mean, it's one thing to have a contract with Michael Waltrip and phone in your results, or he talks to the crew chief maybe on Monday to see how the race went. This weekend, Joe Gibbs will be there, JD Gibbs will be there, Max Siegel will be there, Michael Waltrip will be there, the heads at Red Bull will be there. You're basically on a showcase in front of your boss, and you're also showcased for anyone else who might want to sign you in the future. I mean, these development deals don't always turn into big league contracts with the same teams, so effectively this is an audition, and you're doing it in front of tens of thousands of fans, and even more importantly, in front of executives from across the sport.
Sure, and just going back to Ryan, he did speak. I asked him, he's going to run full-time in Nationwide next year, and I asked him if there's any opportunity of him getting into a Nationwide car this year, and he said for him it comes down to sponsorship, and the fact that it is hard to find a sponsor to get you into a race, a one-time deal. You never know what happens with the car, so it's a lot of, financially it's a strain. So this is an opportunity to showcase, like you said, in front of these people while they're there, and show that, okay, we're in an East race. This may not be the big time, but it's an opportunity. It's a tryout to show that you can, compete with these big guys on this big stage.
Yeah, you can open eyes. And we're talking a lot about the young guys here in the E-Series.
Mm-hmm.
Don't neglect the modified drivers either. It's an older crowd. It's a more experienced crowd. But in a lot of ways, that makes the race that'll come after the nationwide race tomorrow, that'll make that race all the more exciting.
Yeah, the modifieds are always fun. It's just such it's a very exciting race. It always comes down, we talked about this before, it always comes down to those final 10 laps. But those guys are racing hard, and they're trying to put on a show for the crowd, and they always do a great job with it. And that is always, that's my favorite race of the weekend. I really enjoy that one.
Certainly exciting. We'll be back tomorrow from the track itself. Friday, big explosion. A lot of action going on, a lot of press conferences. We'll be here to update you with all the news throughout the day on our blog, on our Twitter, and of course on the video. We'll see you then.
Take care.